Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
Jason Levine.
Today we're taking a look back at an older game called Ingenious. By older, I mean it's like a decade old. When did this game come out? 2004. So 12 years old. But we want to take a look back at these games. When this game came out, this was the kind of game that Dr. Reiner Knizia designed it. When people played it, they said, this could win the Spiel des Jahres. Except it came out in the same year as Ticket to Ride and therefore had zero chance.
But it was a nominee.
It was a nominee, but there was no one was saying it was going to win.
No.
It was going up against Ticket to Ride. But the fact is, if Ticket to Ride had not been out that year, this game probably would have won.
Probably.
And that's kind of odd because the game is an abstract game. It's just placing two piece tiles on a board, like domino style almost, with colors trying to make groups. Here, I'll show you.
Here's the board for Ingenious. Now you'll notice that there's some colored rings on the outside. That's depending on how many players you're using in the game. Now each player is going to have a rack of tiles. You're going to be drawing these tiles from a bag. There's different colors. The tiles have two different sides to them with two symbols. Sometimes it's the same symbol. And on your turn, you take a tile from your rack and you place it on the board. Now the first time you have to place it next to one of these printed tiles, but after that you're going to be placing them around, connecting things. And when you place it on the board, you're going to score each side. So this red one, is it touching any other reds? No. Is this green touching another green in a straight line? Yes. So I get 1 point for placing that tile there for green. So each player has a scoreboard, and on that scoreboard they're gonna have a cube of the different colors in the game. So there I just scored 1 point for green. So let's say, playing off that later on, I place a tile like this. Now this green is in a straight line with this one, so it gets 1 point, and it's a straight line in that one, so it gets 1 point. So that would give me 2 points. Maybe I place this red one here, it's in a straight line with that, so I get 1 point. And you can see as time goes by, like this one here, purple with purple, one, purple with purple, one. But as time goes by, you'll be able to make some really big runs as long as you have the right tile. So you're going to play a tile, and then you will draw one from the bag and replace it on your rack. If for some reason you have no tiles in the color of which score you have the lowest, so let's say my scores look something like this and red is down here and I have no red tiles, I can show everybody, discard all my tiles and draw new ones from the bag. So if I place a tile here, for example, red is only going to score 1 point. If I place it here, it's going to score 2 because of the line that I've placed. And so hopefully as time goes by, you will be able to place tiles in such a way that maybe you can score both colors. Like here's a green and a red, so I'm thinking, how can I do that? If I place this here, this green one will score me 3 points, and this red will score me 1. But if I place it this way, the green will get me nothing, but the red would get me 2, 1 and 1. And that's basically how the game works. You're trying to do this. Now eventually, you're not going to be able to fit any more tiles on the board. You're not going to be able to legally play tiles on the board. There's going to be spots on the board that, things will be holes, and when that happens, the game is over. Each person's going to then look, and they're going to look at all their scores that they've gotten in the different colors, and whichever score is the lowest, let's say red is 5, that's their score. Their score is 5, the one that's equal to the lowest. Now, if you do get one of your colors all the way over to 18, that's like bingo, it's exciting. You get to play a second tile on your turn. So getting one all the way over lets you play another tile from your rack, and then you draw and replace both of those. You can also play a partnership game where you'll put 2 of these scoreboards together and you're working together to get one score, 2 on 2, so you can play partnership, or you can play 2 or 3 or 4 different players.
Now, Ingenious obviously was very popular. They even came out with a small pocket Ingenious.
Yes.
I think it was for 2 players.
Ingenious puzzles. They had that puzzle version with different boards.
Oh, okay. And the game itself is one that, when you taught it to people, I think they just kind of got a kick out of it. Pulling a tile from a bag, having tiles in front of you. I think it was building off the popularity of dominoes. It's not really like dominoes, but people liked having a bunch of tiles in front of you, 2 sides, and when you place it out, you would be scoring and you get lots of points. And that felt good to get those points.
Yeah.
So I think this really has a strong appeal to people who don't want to play games with complex rules. I'm not saying the game is simple, but because there's a lot of strategy in it, but there's simple to learn and play.
Quick to learn. a Lifetime the Master.
Ah, yes, I really despise that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's certainly luck in the game. Sometimes you really need that one time. You're like, please give me the yellow, green, or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry that much about it because if you, let's say yellow or green is your lowest, you could do the dump everything and get new ones and get a better pull for the chance at it. So if you're behind in a color, you don't have to worry too much because you could always refresh your whole hand and go for something better.
The game has, I call this the patented Knizia scoring. And Knizia loves the thing where you need to score everything and then your lowest one or something.
Yes.
And okay, he's famous for that. He started it probably with Tigris and Euphrates, and this is where it came in play. But people understand it. It's like you want to move these cubes across, and you want to move them all across. Don't stop getting blue. You don't need to get all blue. Get some other colors too.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's an interesting game. There's some interesting things that I think about the game, and the scoring mechanism is that there's two ways people play. One is to go for 15s everywhere, because when you hit 15 and get the Ingenious level, you get the extra tile play.
Right.
So everyone's trying to build up to get the extra tile plays to get as maximum score as possible. But then there's other people who play it and try to block things. So I'm going to keep cutting off so no one gets a big long chain and gets eight reds in one turn, and blocking, and then you might have scores that end up with a 7-8, and like the highest thing you might get is an 11 somewhere. And it's really interesting that you could play it in two different ways, like a friendly let's build clumps of colors way, and another way where you're chopping things off and limiting what people can do.
One of the things I also like about the game is, like you mentioned, it can be mean, but not too mean. It's hard to explain. I mean, you're cutting people off, but they can just build somewhere else.
Yes.
I think the game scales really well. It plays 2 to 4, and I actually like it with all the number of players. A 2-player game could be very cutthroat and fun. I mean, the board shrinks a little bit with each number of players. 3 is good, 4. You don't have to wait a long time for your turn. The components, again, there's a nice feel to them. Each of the colors is not only a different color, but a different shape. So if you're colorblind, that's not a problem. Yeah, I like it. What's your awesomeness rating?
On this one, awesomeness rating of 8. It's a game I still play. It's a game that has good pacing to it, and it's a game I'd pull out with friends, even people who are light gamers. I think it fits in all crowds, and it's a very good game.
Yeah, this is probably not one of my favorites, perhaps, but I think it's a very solid game. I'd give this one a 7. I'll gladly play it. I like the fact that it scales. It's bright and colorful, and I can't but help admit that it just appeals to such a wide audience. This is one that they should be selling at Toys R Us, honestly.
Exactly. Dr. Knizia did it again.
Ingenious.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.